Hello everyone, welcome to Lockdown Sees the World. Today we talk about Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest American presidents. If we say George Washington is the father of America, then Abraham Lincoln made America reborn again by ending the Civil War and maintaining all states united. In Washington, D.C. Stands Lincoln Memorial. At Mount Rushmore, there is his sculpture. On $5 bill, printed his image. Both his birthday and that of George Washington are in February. So American people celebrate the holiday of President's Day in February. Lincoln was born in a small farmhouse. In poverty and self-made, and later he became a lawyer and was elected as a congressman, then a well-known statesman. His road of success revealed the pioneering spirit of American adventure, progressive, optimistic, and improving. In his whole life, full of grief, frustration, misfortune, and failure, yet he was always sincere and kind to all the people around him, even to his foes, which demonstrated his great personality. On February 12, 1809, Lincoln was born in Kentucky, the western frontier state at his time. His father was Thomas Lincoln, his mother Nancy Hanks. Not only a farmer, his father was also a carpenter, a good hand in building house. He invested in real estate too, and a famous person at a local community. Yet he had not been educated in school and failed in a few cases of land investment. Finally, he got bankrupt in 1816. When Lincoln was 7 years old, his family moved north from Kentucky to Ohio. From very young, Lincoln began to help housework at home. He learned how to use axe to cut woods, even help in building house. He took the grain to the mill for grinding flour. Yet one day an accident happened. The donkey kicked him on the forehead and made him unconscious. With his age increased, his father assigned him a part-time job to their neighbors. Later, he found a job and ran a store in partnership. He also learned survey of lands and also as a driver on the boat. He floated to New Orleans a few times along with the Mississippi River and witnessed the markets for slave trade. He worked on railroad as a splitter. Even in his election for presidency, he was still called as Lincoln the Splitter. Lincoln was tall, 6 feet 4, and very strong when he was young. He once won a wrestle championship at his county. Before he was 15, he received only 1 year school education. All the rest of the time, he learned himself. His mother Nancy taught him to know words by Bible. He practiced by scrawling on the ground and on the walls of the home, because no paper at home. He borrowed books from outside and finished reading many masterpieces, including all the works of Shakespeare. He even tried to create some poems. He studied law by himself and ran his own lawyer firm. A very successful lawyer. In 1861, he was awarded a doctorate degree of law by Columbia University. In October 1818, when Lincoln was 9 years old, his mother, Nancy, passed away. His father remarried, and Lincoln had his stepmother, Sarah Bush Johnston, and another 3 step-siblings. And they got along very well. Lincoln had a younger brother before who died just in infancy. Lincoln's elder sister, Sarah, was 2 years older than him and always took care of him. Later, his sister married and moved out. Yet in 1828, when Sarah died in childbirth delivery at the young age of 21, which made Lincoln very sad. Then a few years later passed, Lincoln fell in love with Anne Rutledge, very pretty, and later as his girlfriend. They loved each other and almost engaged. Lincoln was so happy that it never felt before. Yet fortune is always unpredictable as the weather. In August 1835, Lincoln's sweetheart, Rutledge, died of typhoid at the young age of 22. It's a fatal strike to plunge Lincoln in desperation for long. He even considered suicide for several times. In November 1842, Lincoln married with Mary Todd, and they altogether had 4 sons. 2 of them, the Edward and Willie, died very young, which made them heartbroken for long. Another son, Ted, died in 1861 at the age of 18 due to heart failure, which greatly hurt Mary. Only their first son, Robert Lincoln, grew up and became a lawyer, had worked as a U.S. War Secretary and ambassador to Britain. In 1926, Robert Lincoln passed away and buried at Arlington Cemetery, Washington, D.C. About Mary Todd and First Lady, some say that she was shrewd and very picky and disrespected Lincoln, which made him always melancholy. In reality, Mary was born in a very rich family and well educated, especially in literature, and she could speak fluent French. She was 9 years younger than Lincoln and sometimes stubborn at home and occasionally lost the temper. Yet they actually loved each other and got along very well. The night before the assassination of Lincoln, in the Ford Theater, Mary held Lincoln's hand and leaned on his arm and asking, "What will Miss Harris think of my hanging on to you so?" Lincoln smiled and said, "She won't think anything about it." Mary was a woman with her own ideas. She believed that her husband would be somebody, or even U.S. president. Whenever Lincoln failed and frustrated after the election, Mary would comfort and encourage him to keep on going, never give up, for his own day would surely come. Based on Mary, what he did to Lincoln was 3 P. That's persuade, push, and prod. Lincoln was a successful lawyer, yet he devoted more to politics. In 1830, when he was 21, he moved to Illinois from Ohio. Since 1834, as a candidate of a Whig Party, he had been elected as a congressman in the state and in the federal union. When running for a U.S. Senator, he was defeated by his longtime rival, the Democrat Stephen Douglas. Yet his political view and talents in argument made him well-known nationwide. He was an abolitionist, yet he was mild rather than radical. Yet as to the issue of federal union and South secessionists, he absolutely had nothing to give in. One of his proverbs is, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." In 1860, as a Republican candidate, he was elected 16th U.S. president. At the very beginning of the Civil War, the South's Confederate Army waged offensive attacks and tried several times to besiege Washington, D.C. to win the war. The Federal Union was not well prepared and suffered defeat and withdrawal, with its commanders too conservative, focused on defensive rather than offensive. Even President Lincoln changed 6 commanders-in-chief, and nothing had improved too much until General Grant won overwhelming victory in Western Theater and finally controlled the battle situation. During the Civil War, total casualties of 600,000 were made, with Southern economy almost broken, and the North was also under great burden. Lincoln promoted the early ending of the Civil War and averted unnecessary blooding. He insisted on tolerant policy, and the South's rebellions could be pardoned if they agreed back to the Union, and then for the South's reconstruction. In May 1862, Lincoln signed a House Stat Act. Any Americans over 21 paying $18 for registration, working on a land for over 5 years, could get 160 acres of land in the West for further development of the western frontiers. In September 1862, Lincoln announced the preliminary of the Emancipation Proclamation. All the slaves in the South's rebellion states would be freed as of January 1st, 1863. In the North, about 180,000 African Americans joined the army, with 1/3 of them died in the battles. In November 1863, in his Gettysburg Address, Lincoln talked about American government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. The proposition had been well received around the world. In November 1863, Lincoln approved Thanksgiving as a holiday nationwide. In June 1864, he signed the bill of Congress for a park of Yosemite in California as a natural reservation. Under Lincoln's leadership, the North finally won the Civil War and maintained the unity of the Federal, which also roused the hatred of some Southern sympathizers. They plotted to murder him, to make chaos in the North, and the South might survive. At the night of April 14th, 1865, the pre-eve of the end of the Civil War, Lincoln was assassinated at Fort Theater, Washington, D.C. It was said that several days before his murder, he dreamed of his assassination. Also, he told his wife, Mary, he said, in his dream, he went to the east room of the White House and saw a catafalque where lay a corpse. A sound of people mourning nearby, yelling, it was the president. He was killed by the assassin. Mary immediately stopped him to speak, murmured, it sounds too terrible. After his death, his body was escorted to his hometown, Springfield, Illinois. And along the way, millions of American people farewelled to their beloved president. His death made him the martyr of maintaining the Union and a symbol of American unity and the great hero in American history. His life, his personality, and the spirit he presented can make us know more about America. Here comes the end of today's program. Thank you for your watching and see you next time. Thank you, bye.